Hello. How are you all doing today? Welcome to the RBN Roundtable on Revolutionary Blackout Network. My name is James Fauntleroy. I'm here with you live this evening. Just to let you guys know, the Revolutionary Blackout Network also streams every single Thursday for the Roundtable at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch people like me on my show at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sundays for the JB show. You can catch Sabby Sab. She'll be in shortly for her show, the Sabby Sab show on RBN, typically on Fridays at 6 p.m. But because of some scheduling things, she will be doing a stream, I think, this evening. But it's so good to see all of you. If you are new to the channel, please make sure to smash down that subscribe button and also give us a like if you're feeling kind of nasty. I'm just kidding. If you're feeling kind of clean, whatever you're feeling, then please make sure to give us a like and also smush down that subscribe button. Please also click the link bell to get notifications just so you know whenever we go live. It is so good to see every single one of you in this evening, and I'm sure other RBN members will be pouring in very shortly. It's been a very busy day, but I'd love to say welcome to every single one of you here today. Now, oh, speak of an angel and she shall appear. Hey, Sabs, how's it going?
Going good. It's been a really busy day. Really busy day.
And for a lot of people, it's been pretty busy. Yeah, I was busy today too, so trying to get things done. Uh, so I was telling your viewers that you might be doing a stream this evening. I'm not sure if it's on your channel or this channel.
Yeah, it's on my channel at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time because I'm not streaming tomorrow. I have appointments tomorrow, so I won't be live at all. But tonight, I'm also going to do the call-in segment that I usually do on Fridays. I'll start that at 9:30 tonight. So it should be a pretty good stream. I have some receipts that I'm going to release about some financial receipts I'm going to release about Pramila Jayapal that I think
Ooh.
is like really
Very good, very good. Thank you so much for taking the time out to join us, despite it being a very full day of Sabs related type of business. I just want to say hello to everybody here in the chat. Yipper, so good to see you. Zap Zen says, is Substack supposed to email me while you're all streaming, or does it do it after? Does it include videos or just some? I'm not exactly sure because I'm not familiar with Substack myself. We're just now getting into it. Do you know a little bit about that, Sabi?
Yeah, so the way that I did it, actually, Indie Left helped me set this up, is you have one main newsletter, and then under that newsletter, I have a newsletter called Sabby Sab's Live Streams. And that's the one that sends out the email alerts every time I go live. So Jimmy Dore has something like this set up too, where he sends out email alerts to people when they go live, people who are members. But for me, like anyone signed up to that live stream alert portion of that newsletter, they receive email notification a couple minutes before I go live.
All right. Thank you so much for that answer. Appreciate it. Hopefully that answers your questions, Zapsen. Comrade Cam, so good to see you also in the chat. Crazy Flower Eater, so good to see you too. All right. Who else do we have? T Torstrick. Extreme Dr. Nick voice. Hello, everybody. Hello, Dr. Nick. You didn't think I'd get that reference, did you? Yeah. I watched a lot of TV growing up. Can you tell? John Kemper, is so good to see you as well. Terry Connolly, Pittsburgh Duke 87, or even if you're feeling feisty. Yeah, that's right. All right. You understand that Janet Jackson reference that I made, right?
Oh boy.
Yeah. I made a Janet Jackson reference. Chuck Guntley says, good run up on the post. You are a true radio man now. Thank you so very much. Gary, Seth, so good to see you. So I highly recommend viewing of a just dropped video, Neo-Slavery or Knowing Better. The last slave freed was in September of 1942. Very, very deep and interesting. Thank you so much, Miss Alita. So good to see you as well. Let me see. Sorgato says, I'm almost dreading watching the new liberal cook, hoping he doesn't hop on the bash door mate, mate, etc. train.
Who?
New liberal cook. I'm not familiar. If you can uh, let us know who the new liberal cook is. I don't know who that is. Let me see. Where Pilgrim, good to see you as well. Patrick, what's up to you too? All right, Anthony, good to see you. Sweary Fairy, we also have in the chat. Gamer, I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you too. All right, Kyle, good to see you. There's a lot of people in the chat today. Wow.
Boop boop doop.
All right, Hobo Roadies, good to see you as well. John, a non-user, so good to see you. Yeah, we love you too. We love you back. We love you back. It's all love here. Jean Catherine the Great, or is it Jean Catherine the Great? Get a handheld mirror and say everyone's names as you pretend to see them. Yep, I see all y'all. Savvy Sav. Hi, JD and Savvy. Just saw on Status Quo Patrick Loya was killed by police during a traffic stop. Oh no, that's something new. Oh damn. Oh damn. Thank you for giving us the info though. All right. Trish T, so good to see you as well. We got a few things to get here. Thanks, Jay. Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in on Facebook. Yes, we also have people tuning in on Facebook. Anthony, good to see you. Leo, so good to see you as well. So the story, one of the stories that I actually want to start off with, and it's a story. I don't even know if I even should go with the story, but hey, everybody's talking about it. It's whatever. I don't even know if I'm going to start off with that. Actually, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to start off with something good because I don't want to talk about this dude yet. You know how sometimes there's certain stories you're just like, I'm not ready for it yet. I'm just not. No.
Oh, JP.
Yeah. I'm going to start with something good. We're going to start off on a high note. Defying Schultz union busting Starbucks workers racking up win after win. They are unionizing and they are growing. This is some good news that I think we should talk about. Right, Sabs?
I'm talking about this tonight, actually.
Should I move on then?
I mean, more so also I'm going to talk about it on a local level too, not just Howard Schultz craziness, but he's just ridiculous.
Yeah. We can just touch on it just a little bit if that's okay with you. So that, we just know that people are unionizing. I just want to touch on this for maybe about 5 minutes or so. But is that okay with you?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. But yeah, so the subheading says, after being shut out of union votes this week, Howard Schultz and Starbucks should be embarrassed and should accept reality. Starbucks workers overwhelmingly want a union. And this is by Jake Johnson from Common Dreams. I'm not going to read the entire article because I want Jake Johnson to get all the credit. Oh, and by the way, why in the hell did I do this? Anybody watch on a Rockfin? Yes, people are watching on Rockfin, but I don't see anybody in the chat, so I didn't miss anybody. Okay, good. But Jake Johnson, he starts off with Starbucks workers at 4 U.S. locations voted unanimously to form a union this week, scoring the latest in a string of victories for a burgeoning organizing movement that has spread to coffee shops in dozens of states nationwide, even as management ramps up its anti-union activity. With a span of just 3 days, two Starbucks shops in the Boston area, that's where you're at, Savvy, as well as locations in Eugene, Oregon, and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, voted to join Workers United, a union affiliated with the Service Employees International Union, or the SEIU. This was by the Bloomfield Organizing Committee. Says we are so proud to become the first union Starbucks cafe in Pennsylvania. We are happy to carry the torch the torch in Pittsburgh. Our win today is a win for baristas across the Commonwealth and all workers in the struggle to organize. This election wins follow union victories at 6 Starbucks locations in New York at the tail end of last week. So, for the rest of this article, I'm actually going to share it in the chat so that this person can get the web traffic and talking about this, because I don't want to take the thunder away from them. But this is some promising news, right, Sabs?
Yep.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, they're really taking up steam here, and I don't know if everyone remembers this, but Howard Schultz actually announced that he was going to run for president for the 2020 election. He announced it on The View. He announced it on, I believe it was MSNBC as well, and he got like roasted for it because he announced that he was going to run as an independent. And of course, every show he went on, they said, "Oh, you're just giving more votes to Trump." You realize that, right? So he decided not to, go forward with it. But it's really interesting to me because some of the things that he said when he was running, or when he said he was going to run, is that he said the reason why he was going to run as an independent is because he said that both parties are corrupt and they're not listening to the needs of the people. And at the same time, exactly, at the same time, Howard Schultz is anti-union, and he's always been anti-union, by the way. That's why they brought him back in as interim CEO so that he can try to bust up these unions that are happening with Starbucks. So it just goes to show you what people say when they're running versus their actions, like who they really are as a person. Now, he said all of that stuff when he was going to run, but here he is trying to stop Starbucks stores from unionizing. So that just goes to tell you everything that you need to know about Howard Schultz.
Look over here. This is what I'm saying. Don't look at what I'm actually doing, right? I mean, that's basically what it is. I mean, looking at people like Howard Schultz, what is he, a billionaire, something like that? At least
And
a
got rich
multi-millionaire.
off of he got rich off of someone else's recipe. I don't know if everyone is aware of that. I mentioned this one time before on RBN, but Starbucks coffee recipe was not originated at Starbucks. That was actually from George Holwell, here based in Massachusetts. He sold his recipe to them. And according to George Holwell, actually, if you look on his website, you can see this information as well. He didn't like what they did to coffee. Like he said, coffee was meant to be just coffee, not to make it all into these sugary drinks. But they actually they came from Seattle, went to Massachusetts here, and because they heard that's how good his coffee was. They heard about it all the way over there. And they
Wow.
flew in and asked him, "Can we get the recipe to this?" And so I guess they offered him a lot of money. He was just like, "Okay, I can just go ahead and retire." But in the past couple of years, he decided to come back because he was like, "They ruined my coffee." So now, if you come to Massachusetts, you can get George Hallwell coffee because he has a new store again, and I think you can order it online as well. So just FYI, that's not Starbucks recipe.
Wow. That's pretty interesting factoids, Savvy. Thank you so much for. Yep, she be educating me all over the place, up and down the road. She be educating me. Thank you so much.
I can show it if you want me.
Oh, please let me stop sharing. Hang on. All right, stop sharing. You can go ahead and share. That's interesting.
Yeah, I did a whole like me and like some of my like former students, we did a whole like meeting about this, about George Holwell, because a lot of people don't know about him. They weren't aware. Like that Starbucks got that recipe from him. So this is George Howell coffee. Like I said,
Mm,
you can like order it, but
mm-hmm,
he was one of those people that was very, see, he says buy our award-winning coffees. He
mm-hmm.
was one of those people that was kind of like, I guess you would call him a coffee purist. He didn't
Ah.
believe in making coffee something that it wasn't. And he feels that's exactly what Starbucks did. And they show you even here like where it comes from: Mexico, Peru, Panama. They show you all the different places, Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
He likes for it to be natural and pure. He doesn't like mixing all this other stuff with it. And I think there was a about, yeah, George Howell.
Mm-hmm.
So this is actually who you have to thank for Starbucks coffee, for people who don't know. Like I
Wow.
said, he was the only reason I know this, again, it's a local thing. Like it's from Massachusetts. Um, but he was awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award by the Specialty Coffee Association of America in 1996 for having raised specialty coffee quality standards to a new level through his Massachusetts-based company, The Coffee Connection, 1974 to 1994. So if you look here, it says he sold his high quality popular coffee company to Starbucks in 1994. He returned to the coffee traveling worldwide and in 1997 worked on models of economic sustainability for coffee farmers under the United Nations and the International Coffee Organization.
Mm,
So he's done a lot, like, and there's a whole like biography here about him. And
mm.
let me go ahead and I'll put the link in the chat for people who want to see more about him. But yeah, that's where that came from.
Wow.
Mhm.
It's interesting how, a lot of times people will start something and they originate it to stay a certain way because of either its popularity or, for instance, I forgot the name of the doctor who that actually created the formula for insulin, but like he originated it to basically be for everybody, right?
Yep.
And not to be deviated from that. And he sold the patent for $1, and it's just basically free for everyone to have that so that they can uh so that if in case they needed it they can have it. And then what the corporations do, they perverted it, they made it into something that it wasn't. They decided to explode the price and try to make billions of dollars off of it in profit. Well, what does these capitalists do? They did the same thing to coffee. Now, don't get me wrong. Look, I don't drink coffee. I don't like it. But I know a lot of people, particularly a lot of teenagers, who love their frappuccinos and things like that, and that's fine. But it's basically just to create revenue and exploit, right? That's what they did. Not making those flavors to exploit, but they basically took it and kind of deviated away from the original recipe.
Yeah.
That being said.
And it's not supposed to have that taste. Like I haven't drank coffee in like 2 years, but I used to work at Starbucks when I was in college.
Hmm.
And some people would say that Starbucks kind of has like this burnt taste, like the Starbucks brewed coffee. And it's not like coffee is not supposed to have a burnt taste. And
Mm-hmm.
so, they went in and added extra things to it, and it's yeah. It's not what it's supposed to be. I used to love coffee, by the way, but it's a little too acidic for me. That's why I don't drink it. But
Mm-hmm.
I think that if you are like a coffee lover, I think you should try George Howell's coffee. It's natural. It's more natural. Starbucks is like it has all these added artificial like flavors and stuff like that. And I used to tell people like the caramel, the hot apple cider at Starbucks, which used to be like one of my faves. If you saw how we actually made it, you might not want it just because like it's so sugary. All the
Wow.
stuff that go. It's just like, I'm give a secret away for those who don't know. The caramel apple cider at Starbucks is just apple juice. That's all it is. You take apple juice. It's not even, yeah. It's not even like the apple juice that you would get. It's not like the apple cider you would get here in New England at the farms. Like, that's real. This is not real apple cider. Like, it's just apple juice. A lot of times I just get it from the grocery store. You steam it just like we would steam the milk for the a lot of the lattes and stuff like that. They steam it. You put like 2 pumps of cinnamon and you put the whipped cream on top. That's all it is. You could actually make that at home.
Capitalism breeds innovation.
And they charge all that money for it. That's
Oh,
what I'm saying. Like, if you saw how a lot of how those drinks at Starbucks were made, you realize you can make this at home.
Capitalism breeds innovation. Oh my God.
Mhm.
Oh, since we're giving stuff away, so I used to work at a dinner show. Okay. It was called Dolly Parton's Dixie Stampede. Okay. Yes, I used to work for them, right? Where the North and the South had a friendly competition. It was based on the Civil War. Anywho, why in the hell did I work for that? Look, JB did a lot of things to earn a check, baby, back in the day. I'm not proud. But anyways, I digress. They, their vegetarian lasagna, it was just Stouffer's. It's just Stouffer's without a meatless lasagna that we just basically heated up in the oven and then we served it to you. That was it. Nothing else. You can make that at home. You can buy that at the store and get that at home. Anyway, there you go. All right, I know you're going to talk about this a lot more in depth on your show. So I want to move on to the story that you also that you also wanted to bring up. This is going to be very interesting, and this is going to get my natural reaction to this. So I'm actually quite curious. Get out of my face, ads. Okay.
Shrimp.
Oh, oh Lord, stupid ads. Sorry. I wonder if I can close this. Okay. All right, cool. Okay. It says Joe Biden's poll numbers just aren't getting any better. No shit, Sherlock. Oh my goodness. Oh, Sabs, what is going on? It says with just more than 200 days left until the 2022 election, there is little evidence that President Joe Biden's poll numbers are improving. There is some data to suggest that things are getting worse. CNN poll of polls, an average of the last 4 national polls of Americans, peg Biden's approval at just 39%, with 55% disapproving. These numbers haven't changed much from the 40% approval, 50% disapproval that CNN's poll of polls measured in March, or the 41% approval, 54% disapproval from mid-January. This also makes clear that the bump Biden experienced in some polling in the immediate aftermath of his State of the Union speech in early March was temporary and not evidence of any long-term comeback. So, Sabs, it's kind of obvious, right? Like people realize that Biden is just full of it, and this is one of the reasons why the numbers are going down, right?
100%. And a big one too for people, number one, healthcare during a pandemic, people still don't have healthcare in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Canceling student loan debt, that is a huge one. In fact, Ro Khanna tweeted that out earlier today, that if Democrats want to win in the midterms, they need to cancel student loan debt. And he said he's been across to different cities talking to people and things like that. And people's like just basic needs are not being met. I mean, people still don't have a living wage. We watched 8 Democrats basically, vote against $15 minimum wage. So when people like to point towards Manchin and Sinema, I want to remind them that there were 8 Democrats that voted against it, not just Joe Manchin and Sinema. And I noticed I don't see people having an uproar about those other Democrats that voted against that. If you notice, the focus was mainly on Kirsten Sinema. And that was something I noticed, but they just ignore the other ones. So people are really struggling right now in this country, and Joe Biden hasn't done anything. And he said he was going to do all these things, get this country back on track. And I wasn't expecting him to be perfect, obviously,
Yeah.
but I really didn't expect Joe Biden to do anything for the people because he's a corporatist. And I
Yeah.
think more people are starting to realize that. Now, the question is, what is the alternative, right? Like, you can vote for a Republican or
Yeah.
you can vote third party or independent. And that's why I've been recommending to people, like, obviously the Republicans aren't going to give you these things either. They're not going to cancel student loan debt. They're not going to give
They're
everybody
not.
universal health care. So you need to vote for independence or you need to vote for third party. I think
Mhm.
people just need to, I think they need to, like Josana talks about this a lot about decolonizing your mind, right? I think
Yeah.
we need to reprogram our brains and
Mhm.
and get out of being used to voting for the two-party system. And I think the more people you have that do that, then a third party or independent candidate can really stand a great chance in this country. But people are so conditioned that they
Mhm.
have to pick Democrat or Republican, and
Mhm.
that's why those candidates don't get the kind of traction that they could get. Jill Stein was on the ballot in 48 states in this country.
Yeah. It's interesting. John Kemper actually said, oh, hang on. He says John Kemper says they're polling the burbs. That's absolutely true. And a lot of times these polls are done with landlines. Like, who in the hell still has a landline?
Mm-hmm.
My mother is a senior citizen, and she ain't even got a landline no more. Like, who has a landline anymore? And a lot of times that's what they're doing their polling from. And if they're not doing their polling from landlines and they're just doing their polling straight from CNN, the majority of people who watch CNN are who? They're typically elderly, 65 and up, and even then with the people who are 65 and up, that's his approval rating amongst older people. If you were to poll people our age, mm, yeah. Can you have a negative poll number? Is that even possible?
I don't know, but like you said, think about who they poll. Like, it's usually people over the age of what, like 50 years old. Those are usually people that have landlines, right? So this is troubling because that number, I would argue, is actually less than that
Mm,
because they're not polling younger people. Like, I don't have a landline. I can't
mhm,
remember the last time I had a landline. So they're not polling us. They're not polling, I would say, people from the ages of 18 to probably like 45. A
mhm,
lot of times we're not included in those polls. So that number is probably lower than what you actually see.
mhm.
And he's also losing, there was another article that came out about this too. He's also losing support amongst African Americans and Latinos.
Yeah. It's funny because when we talk about African Americans, Latinos, you think back to the 2020 elections. Joe Biden had a good bit of the support from older blacks, older
Mhm.
African Americans within this country. And now that he's losing support with them, it's kind of funny because they're it's kind of almost like we younger generation are like, see, we told you, because a lot of the times people were like, oh well, we got to get rid of Trump. Um, Looking at Joe Biden, he operates pretty much the same, except for on maybe some social issues, maybe. But other than that, everything is still the same.
Yeah, I want to point this out from Bruce. New
Hmm.
Hampshire Senator Maggie Hassan, who voted against the $15 minimum wage, has no challenger in the New Hampshire September primary to date. Yeah, she was one of the ones that voted against it.
Wow.
Yep.
Hmm. Yeah, and what you said about third parties. I mean, look, here's my thing. Go ahead and, if you're so inclined, if you want to do third parties, then great. Put heavy-handed approach on direct action, and then when it comes time to vote, third party. And that's it. But as far as anything else, the duopoly and things like that, I don't subscribe to it. And so a lot of times people are just tired, man.
Mm-hmm.
And those of us who are employed and working, they're extremely just physically and mentally exhausted. Those of us who are disabled and elderly, we are also exhausted. We're tired of being housing insecure because, or even if it's not housing insecure, it's utility insecure or food insecure or transportation insecure because the only money that we have is to cover housing.
Yep.
Like like I'm trying to figure out how I'm supposed to get home from dialysis tomorrow because I don't even have enough money to get home tomorrow. I have enough money to get there, but I don't have enough money to get home. And so people like us are just like suffering, And then you also have people who are wondering how in the hell are they going to pay back the government for the child tax credit that was given to them, or the uptick in the unemployment insurance that they were given. Like some people are, the government's actually asking for that back. It's like, why?
Yep.
So,
I mean, were they really giving us something? Or were they
no.
just giving us back our own money? Like that's that's the other thing too. It's just I don't know. I think that I want people to realize that someone like Ron DeSantis could very well win in 2024. Florida passed $15 minimum wage. I just want to remind everybody of that. Someone like Ron DeSantis could win in 2024.
Yeah. Florida also voted in direct ballot initiative to give voting rights back to formerly incarcerated inmates.
Yep.
Now, they made it so you have to pay basically a poll tax, which is complete and utter bullshit. But we actually voted overwhelmingly to give the right to vote back to people who were formerly incarcerated in Florida. So that being said, especially when it comes to class analysis, just talking about these things from an issue for issue basis, you can move a lot of people over to our side. So, even if somebody considers themselves right wing, do not despair. Continue to just talk to them and come at it from a humanitarian perspective. You don't have to use all the buzzwords like solidarity and capitalism and socialism. You can just talk, about things like, wouldn't it be great if you had part ownership of the company that you work for because you invested time and energy into that company? And that is, you should be part of that. And people sit there and agree with you. Let me get this comment right here. This just popped up from Brent Hagan. Says Biden is the fall guy, so the Republicans can take back Congress. So Pelosi gets her wish, and we have a strong Republican Party and a true reason for them doing nothing for the people. What are your thoughts about that, Sabs?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, like I've told people before, they don't have to win. They just have to fundraise. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if we have a Republican that's president or a Democrat that's president. Those people who were running, they still get the opportunity to fundraise. And Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden are both corporatists. So it's really in their best interest to make sure the person that wins is also a corporatist. This is why they will speak out so heavily against, or they did speak out so heavily against Bernie Sanders. Because when Bernie Sanders talks about, taxing the rich, we need to make the wealthy pay, that includes them. I talked about this last night. Nancy Pelosi doesn't just get income from being in Congress. Now that's like six figures, right? Nancy Pelosi is worth over $170 million.
Interesting how that
So
happens.
yeah. And you know who she was in the top 10 of congressmen and women that make the most money. And number one was Rick. Oh, what's his last name? He's in Florida.
Rick Scott.
Rick Scott was number one at over $250 million.
Yeah. Rick Scott, or as I like to call him, Fire Marshal Bill.
That's what he looks like.
Yup, he looked like Fire Marshal Bill, right?
Let me tell you something.
He looks like look. Sometimes I call him Fire Marshal Bill. Sometimes I call him Skeletor. Man. He is Skeletor. All right. I like to be even. And yes, I know that is weird that I can sound just like Skeletor. I know.
I have the power of Grayskull. He-Man.
Oh man.
Oh,
people wonder why I'm gay, and then they look at He-Man. They're like, I know why now. Loincloths. So yeah.
Kids today are missing out, man. They don't know. They don't know. They don't know about He-Man and She-Ra.
Masters of the Universe. Yeah.
The Master of the Universe.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Or back in the day when we used to watch Merry Melodies, yo, you cannot sit there and tell me that there was something up with Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny played for my team. You know that, right? Or I don't know, man. Foghorn Leghorn. God. I said, boy, come here, boy. It's a good thing that I keep my feathers number for such an occasion. Yeah. So kids today, they just don't know.
Or Voltron. Voltron was one of my faves. He's like, I'll form the arm. I'll form the leg. I'll form the head. Voltron.
Yeah, let's go, Voltron Force. Dun, 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 dun. Voltron, defender of the universe. Form, blazing sword. Yeah.
They don't even have. Do they still do Saturday morning cartoons? Is that still? No. Oh man, I used to love Saturday morning cartoons.
Yep, laying on your stomach while eating a big bowl of cereal in the morning. Come on now.
Oh man, MC Hammer had a cartoon too. Like you guys really don't. I don't know if you know, but like MC Hammer had a cartoon called Hammer Time, and he had like these musical shoes.
Remember C-Bear and Jamal?
Yeah.
What's his name? Tone Lock. Tone Lock? Yeah, he played C-Bear.
Yep.
Yep. I mean, they had some shows, boy, back in the day. It
was everything. Inspector Gadget too was one of my faves too.
Oh yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Inspector Gadget. Or yeah. Oh man.
I'll catch you next time, Gadget.
Next time, Gadget. Next time. Oh my gosh. And every person in Claw looked like they were related.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-mm. All right.
Man. Sorry,
Well,
guys.
yeah. Sorry, just two millennials just reminiscing over our childhood, especially since capitalism decided to ruin it all. Oh boy. Oh, by the way, Sabby, we definitely got to do that millennial episode.
Yes.
We got to do one. We're gonna do it. We're gonna talk about some stuff.
Ron
Yeah.
Baclone said he wants in.
Oh! We're making this a whole panel, baby. Oh, this is gonna be a panel. Oh, look. Anybody that's Gen X or Boomer are gonna be looking at us like, "What in the heck? Who hurt y'all?" And then we're gonna be talking about all of the things that we used to love. Look, it's gonna be a stream to tune in on. It's gonna be a fun stream. Trust and believe. We're going to have a discussion. So it's gonna be great.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Sweary Fairy. I forgot about Captain Planet.
So, see, I'm trying to get to the next story, and now you want me
Sorry.
to do the whole Captain Planet theme song. Because I know the theme song by heart. Don't get
What?
heart. Don't play it. By your powers combined, I am Captain Planet. Captain Planet, he's our hero. Gonna take pollution down to zero. He's the power magnified, and he's fighting on the planet side. Captain Planet, he's our hero. Gonna take pollution down to zero. Gonna help them put asunder bad guys who like to loot and plunder. You'll pay for this, Captain Planet. We're the Planeteers. You can be no, JB, no, I'm not gonna do it because I can finish it. I'm not gonna finish it. No. Y'all enjoy the stream.
Oh,
Lord
man.
Jesus.
I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna finish the rap. No.
What? That's my favorite part.
Yeah. And my tea was heart. I actually thought, okay, before I go to the next story, I actually thought about doing a live action Captain Planet and the Planeteers. It would definitely address climate change. The only difference is it would be more darker and grittier and more real to life. And one of the only ideas I had was once they put on the rings, you know how they in the cartoon they point the rings and the power came out? No, it would imbue them the power with that. So they can literally like manipulate fire, manipulate water, and then Mati with heart would actually have like the powers to influence people with his mind. And you have like psychokinetic powers. It would be so awesome. And then you can get somebody like I would have somebody like Vanessa Williams play Gaia or somebody like that. Or I don't know. You know what? You can have somebody like what's her name? Viola Davis play Gaia, right? And instead of having her have long flowy hair, it'd be like an afro because, you know, everybody's from Africa anyway. So she can be like the mother of the earth. Oh, it would be brilliant. And you can have everybody from different races, you know. And of course, you know, the indigenous one will be the one that can affect people's, you know, minds and hearts. This would be great. I just had an idea of just actually making a Captain Planet. I don't know who would play Captain Planet though.
That would be tough. Oh, no. We know this. We know who would do Captain Planet.
Who?
Chris Evans.
He could.
Mr. Captain America himself could also be Captain Planet. They'll have to make him like bluish green. But he could do it.
Oh, they could do CGI, baby.
Here you go.
They can make him look cool. I don't know. Somebody who's watching who may be like a screenwriter or something like that, pick that up. Especially if you're on the left, pick it up and make it be an anti-capitalist movie. Child,
Mm-hmm.
I got some ideas. All right. So next story. All right. So we're gonna have to talk about this dickwad. Yes, that's right. I call him a dickwad because he definitely is. Because he exploits people, so it's worth calling him that. So it's all over, y'all. Elon Musk is trying to buy Twitter.
I knew this was coming. I knew it was coming.
Of course. He tried to buy Twitter for $41.39 billion. Now, you know what? Before I go, Sabby, please just give me your initial thoughts. Please. I need them.
I knew this was coming. Like when he bought, shares of Twitter, I knew that his intention was to eventually take it over. I
Yeah.
mean, this is what Elon Musk does. He tries to do all these like multiple projects at once. Sometimes he doesn't complete projects that he starts before he takes on another one. Have you guys noticed that?
Mhm.
So this is not a surprise to me, but I think people should be concerned about this. I don't think it's going to happen, but I could be wrong. If it does happen, what is censorship really going to be like on Twitter if Elon Musk buys it? What is Twitter going to be like?
Mm-hmm. That's a good question.
Craig Bruce said time to reconsider Twitter. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that would be crazy, man.
Yeah.
By the way, we just joined Getter, you guys. So if you want an alternative, you can join that.
Join what?
Getter. RBN's on Getter.
Yeah, I heard about that. I didn't know. I know about that, but I never examined Getter before. But I'm gonna take a look at it. But I'm also I'm looking forward to Panquake, as
Yes.
well. But I think I think if you're not diversifying yourself on different platforms, I think it is best to do that. Also, to any of you who are also in the media podcast space, diversify your platforms. Because
some of these people only on YouTube, man, I don't know what they're thinking. Some of these people only on YouTube. Like we saw what happened to Chris Hedges. We saw what happened to like Abby Martin and Lee Camp. Like they can just come and just take your stuff down. What do you do if you have no other platform? You're like starting all over again. And
now,
by the way, me and JB just got on Rumble.
Yep. I got the JB Font Show on Rumble, and Sabby Sabs is now on her channel on Rumble. So, I just shared it on my Twitter. And did you share yours on your Twitter? I didn't see.
I forgot to. I'm late as usual. I am late as usual.
It's all good, Sabs. But just to let everybody know, Sabby Sabs is now available on Rumble as well. So if you guys can subscribe there as well, and so that would really help us out. And I think we're trying to get on Rumble with RBN. But as far as Elon Musk is concerned, to anybody who says I'd rather a billionaire oligarch like Elon Musk hold sway over our free speech than the government, you clearly don't realize who owns and runs the government. Now, I'm not saying that it's Elon Musk by himself, but a lot of his other multi-millionaire and billionaire accomplices and fellow oppressors run the government. So guess what? All the BS about our free speech that you guys have been seeing over the years, including people, like Edward Snowden, people like, Julian Assange, people like a lot of the political prisoners, like Reality Winner and people like that. Who has the government bought and paid for? The billionaires. So therefore, it's also in their best interest that people like this are silenced. So when you want to talk about free speech, Elon Musk is not the person that you want to go to as far as free speech is concerned. So I honestly think that you should be deeply concerned that somebody like this has this much power. Also, if you had hundreds of billions of dollars just burning a hole in your pocket, and you decide to put that money to something, What would you do with it? In fact, if you're watching right now, put that in the comments down below. What would you do with $41.39 billion if you had it right now? What would you do? Because there's a lot of things that I could do with over $40 billion right now.
Mm-hmm.
I even posted it on Twitter. What is cheaper than Twitter? And yet you still got people arguing as if Elon Musk earned his money. Okay, let me close this thing out for a second. Let me get closer to the camera for y'all. All right, look, we're gonna make we're gonna make this close. All right, so Elon Musk did not earn his money. That is a fact. Okay, if you look into the history of people like him, he earned his money because his family owned an emerald mine from South Africa. And all that money that they accrued and that they made gave him that foundation so he can start his projects. And a lot of the things that he started his projects with, a lot of times they're funded by public money, like SpaceX. He didn't build his own SpaceX facility to launch rockets from. It's all being done at NASA, public money. So with that being said, he's actually using other people's money to try to buy Twitter. Savvy?
I mean, I've been, telling people about Elon Musk for a while. I think that this is somebody you really need to watch out for. But there's no control. Mm-hmm. Nobody's checking him. We don't have any type of limits on capitalism. Mm-hmm. This guy's trying to buy the world. Like, when does it end? When does it stop?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, this guy is literally trying to buy access to an apparatus that I honestly think either one or two things should happen. Either Twitter should be nationalized and placed as basically a public square for everybody to have a voice, or you break it all up. One of the two into smaller pieces. One of the two. Because the thing is that Twitter is so big, Facebook is so big, that ultimately it should not be a single company. And if it is going to be a single company, then it should be nationalized. I mean, what do you think about that?
I think they really need to break up big tech, because this is just getting ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if people realize this, but what else is Google going to buy? What else is Elon Musk going to buy?
Yeah.
I mean, this is Rockefeller 2.0.
Right? It's like Andrew Carnegie and John Rockefeller and JP Morgan all over again.
Basically.
And and the crazy part is it's actually cheaper to end homelessness than it is to buy Twitter. And it's significantly cheaper, by $20 billion cheaper to end homelessness.
Hey, I just realized for some reason, I think this is synced to Nick's Twitch account.
I did it.
Oh.
Yeah. I did it on purpose. Because get some more traffic to RBN a little bit. But
okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, my thing is, everybody wants to talk about oligarchs in Russia, but they never want to talk about oligarchs in America. But that's a whole nother story. And I'm not going to say the U name of a particular country because apparently they don't want us saying that because they will take this video down if we say the name that starts with a U. That's censorship for you. Big tech, right? Still want Elon Musk to own Twitter as a sole entity, right? All right. So I'm going to try to get to this next story right before you go because I know you're going to be leaving in a second for your stream. Hang on. Let me do this. I got to go to my bookmarks. This is going to be interesting too. And I definitely want your thoughts on this one, Sabs. Because I'm trying to get the gravity of this, but this came across my radar. This is crazy. This is from Alan Smith. It says just in, RNC votes to withdraw from the Commission on Presidential Debates. It says RNC unanimously votes to withdraw from Commission on Presidential Debates. RNC will begin work for freer and for fairer debate platforms. That's funny. Let me read it. It says today, Republican National Committee Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel released the following statement on the RNC's unanimous vote to withdraw from the Commission on Presidential Debates. Debates are an important part of the democratic process, and the RNC is committed to free and fair debates. Yeah, right. The Commission on Presidential Debates, which is also bullshit, is biased and has refused to enact simple and common sense reforms to help ensure fair debates, including hosting debates before voting begins and selecting moderators who have never worked for candidates on the debate stage. That part is actually true. Today, the RNC voted to withdraw from the biased CPD, and we are going to find newer, better debate platforms to ensure the future nominees are not forced to go through the biased CPD in order to make their case to the American people. What are your thoughts on this, Savvy?
I mean, I don't think it's surprising.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. I can't talk to. I really do have to go. But I mean, this is just it's not surprising. I mean, this party is going in a different direction.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one party that is going in a different direction. The Democratic Party is still corporate party.
Yeah.
You know, I wish the Democratic Party was moving further to the left, but it's not. So.
Yeah. Make sure to catch Savvy on her show tonight. You're going to be live at 8 p.m., right?
Yep.
All right. So make sure to be there live and be sure to also participate in the call-in episode for she does at 9 p.m. Thank you so much for coming in, Sabs. We appreciate it.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. See you later, homie. Dooby-dooby-doo. Okay, so I'm going to give my thoughts on this. This is kind of interesting. So, where am I at? Okay. So what Miss McDaniel said, she said the part where the Commission on Presidential Debates is biased and refused to enact simple common sense reforms to help ensure fair debates, including hosting debates before voting begins and selecting moderators that never worked for the candidates on the debate stage. So the selecting moderators who never worked for candidates on the debate stage, anytime, like for instance, if you've seen a debate with ABC News and they have George Stephanopoulos on there, George Stephanopoulos used to work for Bill Clinton. So he's biased, right? But pretty much everybody is biased. I don't care if they work for a news media organization. They also have their own political leanings. But at the same time, it's always a more corporate, more capitalistic leaning that they tend to have. If a debate, for instance, was used by, if you had a debate platform that you have members of RBN as moderators, members of MCSC network, members of the INN. You had people who were basically part of like left indie media that were part of moderators. What would that look like? That would look pretty intense, wouldn't it? Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Okay. Uh, that would be pretty interesting, to say the least. Because then, would we still have a bias? Yeah, we would have a left-leaning bias. Let's be real, right? If I were a moderator, I would ask anything and everything from a completely left-wing perspective. I would ask anything basically from a socialist perspective. I would ask, for instance, about the military, over 800 military bases that we have situated across the world. Asking about, why aren't we severely cutting the military budget in order to cut global emissions that the United States contributes to, on a global scale. Asking questions, as far as the suffering of people due to sanctions in different countries like Cuba, DPRK, and other lands. I would ask these questions, and as far as domestic policy, I ask questions based on, for instance, healthcare. And my questions based on healthcare would be on, to gear towards a full nationalization, or about, student loan debt, and even going farther than student loan debt, not just canceling student loan debt, but making all public colleges tuition free, including graduate school. Because to be honest with you, I think education should be open and accessed by everybody. You know. So yeah, this is very interesting because the RNC is moving in this direction. I don't know what this means as far as what it's going to look like further into the future when it comes to debates. Because in 2024, there definitely is going to be a robust group of people that are going to be running for at least the Republican primary for president. I pretty much think that DeSantis is going to be part of it. I think Trump is going to run again. And who are they going to get to question the moderators? I'm sorry, who are the moderators going to be to ask the questions? That's actually what I'm pretty curious about. Just by the way, guys, I'm only going to be on for about another 20 minutes or so. The reason being is because I don't want it to be the JB show part 2 instead of it being the roundtable. It's not a roundtable, unless it's more members of RBN. So I will be cutting it short in just a little bit because I want it to be a authentic roundtable. But I wanted to finish and make it, I don't want you guys to feel cheated in only being 1 hour. You know what I mean? But I'm going to go to the chat really quick. And we're gonna talk. We're gonna have a chat. Left of Attila the Hun, you mean? Love you, Gary. They would faint. No, they wouldn't answer any of the questions. They would probably give word salad and politics speak because that's what they do. That's what both Republicans and Democrats do. Ryan Clark says, one of my major concerns is making sure all candidates are heard both from third parties and Dems, Republicans, and their parties' media want to silence. And I get it. You want to make sure it's fair across the board, and fairness across the board is deeply important. But one thing that I do, and this is my opinion, is that the Democrats and Republicans are in league with the corporate media, which also means that they're in league with a lot of these moderators as well. A lot of these moderators tend to lean even further right than the centrists in the party, aka the progressives. I consider Bernie a centrist. I consider Bernie the centrist, and I consider pretty much any member of the squad to typically be, with the exception of maybe one or two, to the right of Bernie. Maybe not Cori Bush. Maybe she's centrist as well. But for the most part, I consider them all centrist. And even the moderators, they will not, that is too far left for them. And then they will even speak, to a right-wing narrative even further right than the centrists. You know what I mean? Which is wild to me, but that's the way it is. And so, honestly, I think they are all in league with one another. I mean, it would be probably slightly more left leaning if you had like Democracy Now, moderating the debate or something like that, maybe. But even still, it wouldn't be RBN, moderating debate. Like if RBN moderated debate, like, especially if it was like a Democratic or Republican debate, it'd be like, people would be like, nah, I don't want to choose none of them, but that's just the way, the cookie crumbles, I guess. Let me see. Leo says, I remember Bill Moyers would do a good devil's advocate line of questioning. Too bad he went to Bilderberg. Let me see. Who else? Yeah. A smart country will be good for us all. And by a smart country, it doesn't necessarily mean, going to college exclusively. I also think that as far as tuition-free college, I include vocational and technical education in that as well. I also include, if somebody does not want to go that route at all, and if they just want to finish at high school, that is fine, as long as high school implements education like financial literacy, basic life skills. For instance, cooking is a basic life skill, and I think it should be really, a mandatory course to have that as a basic life skill for everyone, regardless of gender. Things like that. Have that, as basic life skills. Bill pay, and well, certain things you shouldn't be billed for anyway, but money management and things like that. So, but one thing I did say, this was months ago when I was talking about education. Just because you don't have a college education or a technical education should not preclude you from having a thriving wage. Because if you work and you can do the job, then you should earn the wage for that particular job. If like for instance, if you're working, say, as a barista, right? Then you should earn a thriving wage for that position. And just because you don't have a college education does not mean that you should be excluded from earning a thriving wage from doing that job, which you receive on the ground training for. So, and then everybody should, and it all should be the same base pay, you know? Yeah. I mean, sanitation workers. I mean, it was important to MLK. All right. Yeah, absolutely, David. Education levels should not predict life success. The thing is, a lot of times people become educated in something that they're interested in. But everybody should have at least a floor, a decent standard of living, because that's what they deserve. I don't think I agree with this. Angelica says, honestly, certain jobs were only meant for children. The fact that many adults stay at entry level jobs as a career is a foundational issue. Actually, no. In fact, I think that if adults want to stay at an entry level job, that's fine, because the thing is, they're workers. I don't think children should have jobs. And they don't have jobs. This is one of the reasons why we have child labor laws, because kids shouldn't be working. Now, when a teenager starts to work, they are workers, then therefore, for that job, for that position, they should get paid for that position, no matter what age you are, because that's a position in that job, right? So I don't think there should be jobs specially made for kids, because the thing is that that's labor. That's a labor job. So therefore, it shouldn't be made just for kids. Like, no, if you're a kid, your job is to make sure your room is clean, is to make sure that you cut your grass. Well, I don't believe in lawns anyway. Lawns should get rid of anyway. But make sure your room is clean. Make sure the dishes are done. Make sure the trash is taken out. I mean, that's your job in my eyes as a kid. Make sure that you help take care of the household. But as far as outside of the house, you're literally working along with adults, so therefore you are a worker. Your status as a child goes out the window in respects to what you get paid, because you're literally doing the job. And so the value of that worker is tantamount, right? Now, as far as what that person at that age is able to do and what they can and can't do, I mean, that should also be taken into account, because you can't have kids do certain things, but then you just don't hire kids at that age, you know, or you hire them for only certain positions. But those positions, which adults also do populate, they should not get the pay lowered than adults, because that's the pay for the position. You get paid for your position, not for your age. So that's the kind of pushback that I'll say, for that. And the thing is that not every kid is going to start working at 16. I have nieces and nephews that didn't start working at 16. For one, I got my first job on the day I turned 16. On my 16th birthday, I got hired. But not every kid is going to do that. Some people probably don't get their first job until they're like 19, 20 years old. And that's okay, you know? But I think I can understand, but I think there's a problem when adults are stuck at working at places like fast food and such, and they can only cap their wage so high, hence, and it's meant for kids. No, because the thing is that those fast food places should have been paying a living wage in the first place. Just because a person wants to stay at the, because a person wants to stay at that place doesn't necessarily mean that they should be paid, terrible wages anyway. I mean, it's a good, honest job. Jobs should, pay for, your ability to live. If they want to stay there, then that's their right. That's their prerogative, and I don't think there should be anything wrong with that. I mean, if you want to flip burgers for a living, okay, you know, you should get paid a living wage for that. I don't see anything wrong with that. But, and if, kids are proficient, well, if teenagers are proficient at doing that job as well, then yeah, they can come in, but they also should get paid the same amount that an adult would, you know? So as far as if they can cap their wage so high, well, if you get paid a living wage and that's good enough for you and you don't, feel like earning that much more, okay. As long as you have enough, for all your expenses, to be paid, because like, look, what do people who work at these fast food places earn in places like Denmark? They're earning like 20 something dollars an hour. And a lot of them are adults. But they have an education because they didn't have to pay out their pocket for education. They have their healthcare. Their healthcare is basically, free, so they don't have to worry about that. As far as living expenses, if we had universal housing, you wouldn't, housing as a human right, you wouldn't have to worry about housing. So basically, a lot of the things that that they have to come out of pocket for and struggle to come out of pocket for is because these companies don't don't pay a living wage. And honestly, I honestly think, because as a socialist, that workers should own the means of production. So if you're working there, you actually own part of the company. So therefore your wage, so basically you would be an entrepreneur while you're working and flipping burgers. I think that's okay if you want to stay there. So that's my thought. And that's fine, Angelica. People don't have to go to other gigs. There are people that will do welding and other dangerous jobs. There's only so many positions in every industry, and that's true. Yeah, because not not everybody can be an electrician. Not everyone can, you know, uh, be an architect. Not everybody, can do all these different things. Some people are just good at more. I want to purse my words carefully. At more simplistic manual labor because that works for them. And some people probably have the mind where they can do complex systems and things like that, but they just don't want to do it for a living, and that's okay too. It's probably just more peaceful for them to do the manual labor because you do your job, get in and get out. Yeah. Oh, so good to see you here, Cape Socialist. Nice to have you as well. Yeah, I know 14-year-old kids who wanted to work, hated school, learning they deserve to be paid like everybody else. Yeah, I'm kind of I'm kind of iffy on anybody 14 working because I kind of want them to kind of stay within their to keep their childhood going. I don't know if I can be convinced that 14-year-olds work because then you start to, it's like, where's that line? You know what I mean? I want them to, to keep their childhood, going at least until they're the age of 16, maybe. I don't know. I think that's a conversation that can be had. Like, how young is too young to start working. Because I know there's a lot of kids who start working earlier, especially in rural communities, especially if they work in farms and in ranches. They start working with their family, or if there's a family business, because I've seen like 12-year-olds taking orders and stuff like that at the family business. I don't know if a kid would start working at a business, and I just don't know if I can see that. I would like to have a conversation. I might be swayed on it if they can present a good argument on somebody younger than 16 working. I know there are some 15-year-olds that start working. I know the supermarket here in Florida, one of the biggest ones, Publix, I think they are allowed. I think it would need permission from a parent to start working. But as far as their pay and labor, if I'm working at uh, if I'm working as a cashier at a grocery store and they're paying like 18, 19 bucks an hour to start, as a living wage. I don't even think that's a living wage, but I'm just throwing a number out there. But if it's like 18, 19, 20 bucks an hour and you start and you're like 27 years old and you get a job working as a cashier, and then your workmate that comes in and they're 14 and they come in to do that same cashier job, then they're going to get the exact same pay. I am not going to prorate it based on age, because they're doing the job, then that's what you can pay to do the job. But I don't know if I would hire somebody at that age, because from an ethical standpoint, you know what I mean? I just don't know if I ethically can start letting somebody at that age start working, because I dearly just want them to stay in their childhood for as long as possible. You know what I mean? I don't want that childhood to be taken away. I want them to have their fun before they start to have the grueling working. But then that goes into the whole thing about, why do we hate working so much? And for me, it's part of being in this capitalistic system that makes you dread Mondays. This is a whole. I'm going a whole different lane. You know what I mean? But I do understand what you mean, John. Just kind of. I don't know. Yeah, like 6-year-olds working in Africa digging for cobalt for oligarch Elon Musk electric car batteries. Yeah, I'm like, screw that. Yeah, no, nah, nah. You're 6 years old. You're going outside and playing, and here is your Tonka truck. Here's your Legos. Here's your dolls. Go ahead, go out there and play. If you're thirsty, go ahead and sip from the garden hose outside. I'll call you in for a snack, in 25, 30 minutes. And that's it. That's all I want you to do at 6 years old. And hell, that's all I want you to do at 14. Go out and ride your bike, hang out with your friends, come back for a snack in about 45 minutes to an hour. And, I can teach you about how bills are paid when you're 14, but that's about it. I don't know. That's just how I feel. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but at the same time, look, I feel like at 14, you should be learning about, like, for instance, my mom showed me the bills at around that age. She showed me, like, this is what rent is. This is how much electricity costs. This is the bill for food. Like, this is how much we spent. Like, she'll hand us, like, the receipts and stuff. We see how much she spent. And a lot of times, when you know how much somebody gets paid and how much they can save and how much, they can spend. And basically, we were living paycheck to paycheck anyway, so we couldn't save diddly squat. But you get to learn those things. And as you get to learn those things, you get to learn how to budget. Like, for instance, having a 14-year-old work out the budget for the household, I think that's something that can be done. I think that's age appropriate while you still get to keep your childhood. But yeah, I just like, to let them keep their childhood. I am Lux says many teenagers bend to get out of their family homes or just want to be out on their own. And yes, I completely get that, because It's the way some families are situated, the way they treat their kids. Some kids just want to get out because they're not being treated correctly at home. Part of me thinks that part of it has to do with economic situations, because economic situations also bear the brunt of a stressor, at home. And so this can make it more difficult for teenagers to want to stay at home because their parents start behaving in a certain way, and this can lead to different addictions. This can lead to different types of treatment, things like that. Not all the time though, because there are some people that just shouldn't be parents at all. Let's be real. And so, and I get that. Maybe there can be like a certain type of like work and school plan for somebody at that age if they really just feel like they need to do that, so they can start saving. Maybe I can get on board with something like that where it's, just a very limited amount of hours per week to do the job, so that they can start saving. Uh, you know, but I really just want kids to keep their childhood going. But at the same time, I am not. It is not missed upon me that there are many kids who are in households that they just need a way out because their parents may be either emotionally, physically, or even environmentally abusive, and they need a way out. And I also want some resources for them as well. I didn't know I was going to get into this conversation, but yeah, there's a lot of kids who go through things, and trust me, I am. What's the best word I can put this? I am privileged in the aspect of having a mom that was a very nurturing mother. She was a single mom, but she was also a very nurturing mother. I am lucky as hell for my mom, and I think I'm thankful for my mom. Uh, but at the same time, we struggled a lot because my mother had to work a lot. Because it was just her, and we lived paycheck to paycheck, and we were basically near the poverty line too. And hell, I'm still near the poverty line, but uh, yeah, I don't know. I feel for a lot of kids that go through that, and I feel for a lot of adults that had to go through that growing up, because some people had terrible parents. I'm trying to clean up my language a little bit because you know um, I want to be accessible for everybody, for everybody to listen, because some people, they may cringe when they hear a lot of cursing. So I may curse once in a while, but I try to be more accessible for people to hear, just out of kindness. But yeah, thank you for that. I am Lux. I appreciate that perspective. You continue, when we say kids jobs, we should be thinking, why do kids need jobs? They need a living wage. Yeah, I mean, if they can do the job, they deserve a living wage. Like, if you can do the job, you deserve a living wage, like, full stop. So yeah, I don't care. Like, give them. Peace Chaw says, entry level job is a term used by capitalists, meaning the job doesn't require skills that anyone should have attained by the time you are a teenager, regardless of the profit value creates. Thank you very much for that. I'm going to be heading out in a second. Let me see. Uh, Thomas says, Thomas, just a question, by the way. I'm looking at your picture. Are you indigenous? If you can answer that question. Um, if not, either or, welcome. Nice to have you. But um, if you are indigenous, then peace be with you. peace be with you whether you're indigenous or not, but I'm just interested to know. Sorry. But you say, I have a farm and a ranch. I may put my 12 and 10-year-old to work a few hours a week to teach them work ethics. I will increase the work hours when they hit 14 or have them join a school activity. Okay, thank you so much for that. Yeah. But I also consider the farmer ranch kind of part of the household. You know what I mean? Because it's part of the household, then but as long as it's within age appropriate, so that it doesn't exasperate them, but it continues to teach them the work ethic so that they don't take hard work for granted. Yes, hard work is something that is a hallmark uh, that we socialists, and a lot of us on the left, that we take to heart. But at the same time, we also realize that hard work cannot be very productive if you don't have the adequate amount of rest, the adequate amount of sleep, the adequate amount of health, the adequate amount of all these different things that we're supposed to have. And I think, as a socialist, I think that we exist in a society where we are actually overworked and underpaid to the point where um I honestly think that we should, number one, get a thriving wage. Number two, the average work week should be cut at least by about a third. Um, because and we should develop more automated systems so that we can enjoy our lives more while not having to worry as much about trying to be productive in the commerce or capitalistic sense. So I I got all that just from your comment, but thank you so much. I appreciate it. But yeah, that sounds like a good plan, though. By the way, um, but yeah. So I just want to say, I appreciate this conversation, um, and so I just want to say, thank you guys for tuning in to the roundtable. As for me, I'll probably just be talking about the news and current events this Sunday on the JB Show. You can catch me there at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so we can talk about that there. And then you guys can catch me on the the JB Font Show on my own channel at 2 p.m. on Tuesdays Eastern Standard Time. So you guys can catch me on that as well. I see you out there, Bill Bradley. So good to see you in the chat as well. To all the people who are also watching on Rockfin, so good to see you as well. And it was good to have all of you again. Um, Also, be sure, because we're going through some stuff on YouTube. If you guys can, please make sure to contribute. If any of you were thinking about sending a super chat, send that to Patreon. Send it to Patreon. You see down in the Chiron below, it says patreon.com/revolutionary blackout. You guys just send it there instead, and we will get it there. Right now, the monetization is off, but we appreciate any and all support that you guys can give. If you guys would like to contribute directly to me, then you guys can always go to my page on Twitter, or you guys can go to my channel and see in the description of any video that I put out there below. I'm trying to get home from dialysis tomorrow, so yeah, I don't have enough. It's only $2.50 for me to get home, but I'm that broke, y'all. But if somebody can just send $2.50 for me to get home from dialysis, at least so that I can figure out what I'm going to do for next week. But yeah, so if with anything, all that out of the way, yeah, and yeah, that was $2.50, not $250. No, no. But I love all y'all, and Oh well, where it's gonna drain me. But at least my blood will be clean. All right. So I'm just gonna go with my primary goodbye. So water yourselves, water your plants, water your animals, right? Water them too. Smoke them if you got them. And if you don't smoke them, eat the edible. And if you don't consume any of that, have yourself a treat. Have yourself, I don't know, a nice cup of chamomile tea. Sip it if you got it. I love all y'all. And make the world better than you found it. Forehead kisses. Mwah! Yeah. Love all y'all. Toasty.